Thank you, Steph, for sitting down with me today.
Not a problem.
This is like full circle because you were one of the first people that like got me into horses.
Literally, I remember selling you, I think we saw, did we sell you for your first horse? Or?
Yeah, you did actually.
Yeah.
Dakota.
Yes, I remember that.
I remember you messaging me being like, we found you your bigger version of Millie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
that's
that was
right.
so funny.
I'm Steph Dunnachie now. I was Steph Lancefield. Recently married my husband Mitch 2 years ago. I grew up in Melbourne, in the suburbs, in a place called Eaglemont, which is, like I used to be able to, my bedroom window, I could see the MCG lights, like literally lit up my bedroom. So
not exactly any horses nearby.
Nah, not at all, not at all. And just loved horses and was obsessed for no reason other than I think it was just born into me from, I'm not sure where, but luckily my parents accepted it and found somewhere for me to ride. And my mum loved horses as well, but we weren't a horse family at all. So they were able to take me somewhat regularly to a riding school, which was where you and I met. I think probably similar beginnings.
Yes.
So that was it was probably about an hour or so from our house, and it felt like it took 5 hours to drive there, but it was the highlight of my whole entire life. So we used to go there regularly and do lessons and camps and everything, and then from there that progressed on to working there.
I feel like it's the same for all the horse girls that go through that place.
It is, and I am sad now because I feel like those places are sort of far and few between. I actually feel like I have this desire to create another riding school, but I also don't know that I have it in me. But yeah, so that provided a lot of opportunity as a young person to pretend like you had your own horse in a safe and encouraging environment. And I met all my best friends there. Like my best friend to today we met at pony camp. When we were like 8, and she was horrible to me, but I just really liked her, and best friends ever since. But yeah, so from there, I progressed to, finish school. School wasn't really my caper. I tried to do a TAFE course, and I quickly learned that in the horse industry, real hands-on experience trumps a piece of paper in certain divisions. So I went down the easiest place, I guess, to get a job in the horse industry, where there's plenty of work, is in the racing industry. It wasn't that I loved racing, but there was plenty of work. So I did some pre-training jobs. I never rode. I was always ground stuff. I wasn't really physically built to track rides. So I was happy just leading them around, and yearling sales and stud work, and then that kind of progressed to. I got the opportunity to start managing the riding school that we grew up at, and did that for a number of years. And then off the back of that, went to America and managed a riding program at a private summer camp, which was amazing, and still
that would have been cool.
Some of the best years of my life, and again made great friends and good experiences, and again just did all these jobs where I was gaining experience and building up my, I guess, expertise, until I got to a point and I'm like, I need to be doing this for myself, because you don't ever get paid very much. And I was watching how much income could be made in these fields, and I thought, I'm like, I can do this and I can do it better. And then ended up with my own school, which we only had for a bit over 12 months. It's a bit of a long story we don't need to go into, but I poured my absolute heart and soul into it, and it went from having like 40 students come through a week to having 120, and we had 13 staff, and it was crazy. On a big trajectory. But in hindsight, I'm glad that I didn't keep going with that, for the reason that I would have absolutely wrecked myself. I would have had, I was just so hell-bent on making it work, and then it didn't, and it put my life in a different direction, which has helped me end up to be where I am now, which I couldn't want for anything more. I'm so happy with the direction that my business and my life's gone now, that I know it wouldn't have done that had I stayed there. So, and shifted away from the English riding and fully fledged into the Western world of reining.
Crazy.
That's the long and short. Yeah, here we are.
And do you think that there was a kind of a moment where, was there a defining moment where you thought that you actually wanted to do this for yourself and create a riding school, or do you think it was kind of that when you said all the money coming through and you were just oh well, kind of, was there, do you think, there was like one moment where you were like, no, like I need to do this myself?
Yeah, I think it's never been about the money. Nothing in the horse industry is about the money. But what I watched is how much income came through that wasn't getting put back into the programs, and that's probably what I did. Is I saw all these riders from the school that we rode at, even when I was in America, and I in different places, and I went and worked at another trainer's place that had a school in South Australia, and I saw them taking the money in but not putting it back into the programs, and I felt, being that kid that literally spent every waking moment of the week waiting to get to the school to ride, I just thought, how much more opportunity could you provide these kids if you invested back into it? And that's probably more why I wanted to do my own school.
You're like, I can do it better.
And like, not to be better than anyone else, but just to be like, I want to provide more for people. And I think I still, what I do now in my business is probably not that dissimilar in a different fashion, but I just think that, when you provide more opportunities for people, it gives them more opportunity to grow, and that grows our industry. And I think if we're not trying to grow the industry, it's just going to sit stagnant and not progress, and then in 10 years' time, there will be no industry. Yeah, no, I completely agree. And what did your family think? Obviously, they're not like horsey when you started your own business, and were they super supportive of that? Yeah, so I'll give you a little background on my family. My mum was a flight attendant with Ansett. She passed away when I was 14, so she was a big influence on my riding. Like, she was the one that would cart me around and do all the horse stuff with me, which was really great. And then, obviously things changed there, and my dad, as much as our interests are sorry, joining us, hello, our interests are different, I credit a lot of what I do to what my dad does in his business. So my dad's actually was a professional bodybuilder. He owns a big gym in Melbourne that's I think he's been running that for 30 odd years. Wow. So for a family owned gym, that's a big thing. And he's very well known in the fitness industry. And he's 73 years old, but he now travels the world, and he's the world president of the World Fitness Federation. Wow. So he goes around and he coaches bodybuilders, and he supports programs, and he creates opportunity and takes it to new countries, and he does all these things. And he also is very much has just lived his life to take every opportunity and, always say yes and sort it out later. And I think even though what I do is completely different to what he does. So kind of like inspiration a little bit. Very much so. But on the flip side of that, he also has gone, go you, I'm off to China. So, my family's always been super supportive, and they're great. But I've just sort of always chased it. But I think Dad always sort of seemed to think that I would grow out of it or do something. There'd be something else. The horse phase, you should grow out of it, and then you never did. Never, no. But I'm just lucky. I think that I've got traits of his that have enabled me to actually turn it into a business, not just riding horses around and not making any sort of future out of it. Yeah, definitely. It's crazy. I think always like a little bit of your parents kind of helps you a bit. Yeah. Especially if they're especially like your dad obviously is doing all these amazing things, you would have seen that, and you kind of just like, oh, like he can do it, I can do it too. It's funny as well, because often I don't get nervous. Like, I get nervous, don't get me wrong, but like people always are like, how can you talk in front of crowds, and how can you go and show and you're just the same? I'm like, I grew up watching my dad parade around on a stage with no clothes on. Like, there ain't no shame. Like, you're like, and I'm doing it with clothes on. Yeah, I've got clothes on. Like, I don't care. So it's just that. But like, I think that, that confidence to just get up and do what you're passionate about, and like, clearly mine is not bodybuilding, but it's, but just be shamelessly passionate. Exactly. And that's what I think sometimes I feel like in my coaching style, I am very passionate. And when I'm at the horse shows, maybe I get a little bit too over the top with my clients, and sometimes I'm like, oh, are you embarrassing? And I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm so happy to see people succeed. I'm like, if the other people think I look like a dickhead, like whatever, like that's
You're
your
like,
problem.
oh, well, that's
yeah,
not
you just
my
wish
problem.
I was screaming for you. So
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
kind of how I've got to look at it. So
Yeah, no, I love that. And so tell me about Lancefield Bloodstock. How did that kind of, obviously now you've got your own place, and you were talking to me before about the kind of vision that you want to take it in.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Yeah, so Lancefield Bloodstock, obviously my maiden name being Lancefield. I don't live in Lancefield, despite what everyone seems to think. It was what I started when I actually started my business. So I bought a riding school that was called Parkview Riding Centre, but I didn't want to. I wanted to have a company, and
Like a brand.
It was my company. It was trading as Parkview. So Lancefield Bloodstock was always my thing, and I always had a passion for helping people buy horses and fit them with horses, and not in the sense of like a dodgy horse salesperson, because it's never been what I've...
Kind of like a matchmaker, but for horse people.
Pretty much. And I had worked in the racing industry, and they were all bloodstock agents. It was this bloodstock, and I was like, that's cool, because I didn't want to be... It was at the time when everyone was coming out with equine services and performance
or like
horses.
equestrian.
Yeah, something equestrian.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to be different. And having just been back from America as well, I had this little kind of like Western flair. So I made my brand with the Lazy SL, and I just sort of roll with that as it was like the silent name of my company. And so we had the riding school, and then when the riding school wound down, I still had this name Lancefield Bloodstock, and I was like, cool, I want to like go on with that. And it has been through many phases. Like any business, you sort of you float with the wind a little bit sometimes, just keep it happening. So it started out where I was running from a beautiful property some clients of mine owned in the Yarra Valley, and we started out just with agistment. I had agisted horses, and I would do sales for people, so I would sell on behalf of, and then I had a couple of trained reining horses that I gave lessons on. So I was in no way, shape or form did I have any aspirations of being a reining horse trainer. I liked reining. I'd started reining with a lady, Catherine Kelderman, who I worked for about 12 months, which was a great experience, and then went back to doing my own thing. And then from there, I got myself some more horses, and then it kind of spiraled into people wanting me to train their horses, and then some breaking in, and then next minute I'm breaking in. And
now you're like, wow, what is this?
Well, I never had I honestly, truly never really thought I would be good. I was a good enough rider to be a horse trainer. Like that's the reality of it. I knew I was a good coach, but I never really, I think as a kid, I was never that I was never the kid that was good at riding. I loved it. Yeah. Like I loved it, but you can relate to this. You know, when we're at the school and there's that girl, she's just naturally good at riding and she can ride the horse as well. I wasn't that. I was like the one that would fall off all the time. But I would always get back on.
But you learned a lot from probably all of that as well.
And I would be like, no, let me get back on. I just was so committed that I kind of, kept going. So when the horse training thing kind of came about, I really, that wasn't that wasn't my trajectory on what I thought I was going to do. Like I thought I'd own a riding school. Like that was my passion. And then I guess opportunity came to ride more horses, and then the breaking in became a big part of what I did. And realistically, I was not good at it. But I'm glad that I did it, because I did my time and it made me a better horse person. I rode a lot of horses, a lot of crappy horses too, but I learnt I learnt sort of where I wanted to position myself in the industry. And then I got together with my partner, my husband now, Mitch, in 2019. And there's a bit of a story there. We had just gotten together, and I could probably laugh about this now. We'd just gotten together, but before we'd gotten together, I was going to go to America. Yeah. And hopefully the border control doesn't watch podcasts. I was going to America to work for a horse trainer for 3 months, and Mitch was coming over with me for a 2-week holiday, and I had been to America multiple times before this. There had been, I had overstayed a visa unknowingly many trips before. No. We get there. I go to airport jail. I get turned around.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that, anyway, we'd not been together long, and I'm like, oh, this guy's just going to like dump my ass. Anyway, and he didn't. And we came back and we went to Tasmania for a couple of days. And then he pretty much said, well, I figured when you'd come back from America that you would move up here, because I'd been at the place in the Yarra Valley. And then we moved the business to the property here in Merton, and then it's just grown. It's gone through some cycles here as well. Like I think when you work in this industry, when you're a horse trainer, you don't actually know anything about business because you just do it because you love horses. And I was when I moved up here, I was still doing some breaking in. It was pretty much, you have horse, I will ride. And you've got to do that when you're starting out and developing yourself and working out, who you want to be. And then I got really burnt out to a point where I didn't want to do it at all. Yeah. And I went on a holiday trip and took 3 months off and went and worked in the Kimberley in Western Australia.
That would have been awesome.
It was. That's such an amazing place, and that was an amazing experience. Like, I can highly recommend, if you ever need to go on a holiday from life, go there because the air's different. And then I came back and I worked for I'm getting sidetracked here, but anyway, I'm on this path. I worked for a horse feed company, and as a rep, and I learnt a lot about business in the horse industry. Yeah. So then I did that for about 3 years, and then I've gone fully fledged back into my training business now. Yeah. And what my business has done in the last 2 years, like, I couldn't even imagine that we would have been able to do what we're doing. So now predominantly, pretty much only training reining horses. And my husband Mitch he trains rein cow horses. So he only handed in his non-professional status last year, and only because we had a horse that we didn't own that he was showing, and it was pretty much like, well, I kind of said to him, just suck it up and be an open rider. Like, that's what I had to do when I started. And he's so talented, and like, I think it gave him that boost to like be confident in himself, and he went out and won the open rein cow horse. Went and won the open rein cow horse for charity, and then backed it up the following year on another horse and run the open derby. Like, he's very good talented,
at what he does.
Very good at what he does. So, but that's enabled our business to sort of shift in a different direction. So now we're like, it's big. We coach a lot of riders, train a lot of horses, and really, really focused in that Western performance horse area. And that's sort of the path that we're taking now, and making changes to how we're operating. And so
that's awesome.
I literally never would have thought that I would have been doing what I'm doing, but I guess if you back yourself enough, you can get there.
And obviously, like, all the experiences that you've had have kind of like led you, probably, like you said, to be able to grow it where you are now. Whereas like, it's always if things were done differently, imagine where you would have been.
Oh, 100%. But it's crazy, and I look at a lot of what you do too, and I think, and then with the girls, we were talking about the girls that we grew up riding with, and the stuff that we learned as kids, so much of that has been impactful on my ability to do what I'm doing, and I'm so grateful for that, because there's like, you just can't learn those skills anywhere.
Or the freedom that we just had,
100%.
at the camps, and like, I feel like not really anywhere that I know now where you can take your kids for a full, almost like 5 days, and it's just like, go have fun, play with horses, like swim in muddy dams. And
100%.
Like, the insurance is, I mean, and that's why it doesn't run anymore, is because the insurance was too crazy. Like, but it's just.
But that was like, I think back now too, like, we weren't a rich family. Like, we were like, we weren't, poor, but we weren't super loaded. But those camps were affordable too. Yeah. I don't feel like
they were never super expensive. No, for what it was.
No, like, to go. Yeah. I remember it was $550. Yeah, for the week, which probably was expensive
back then
enough, but that wasn't. I don't feel like that was an astronomical amount. It's like $110 a day.
I think it was still only $600-700. Like, when I started going.
Yeah, and that's 2 horse rides a day, all your food, everything. Like, that was pretty good value
for money. Lodging. Yeah, like, you sleep there.
Yeah. Mind you, he probably didn't, when we were staff there, I don't actually think we got paid.
Well, we got paid, but at least like not a huge amount. But we just loved it so much that we just didn't really care. Like, the pay was just like bonus at least.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
It was, especially going from the same, like, being there and then working there, I feel like there was always a few of us that, like, we just went through that same cycle.
Exactly. I watched it all, but it's it was a really great place to start. So.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. And with your business now, what do you think like has been the hardest part of running it? Because you've obviously got like all the different things that you've done. Has there been something that maybe people on the outside you know, wouldn't see as like the hardest part? Like, is that like not learning necessarily how to run the business properly, like from the start, or what do you think that would be?
There's like many factors. I think learning to balance your time with your clients. My personality is very much my business, my brand, but then I think sometimes I also need to know how to like balance what I'm doing to not give too much of myself to my business and then have nothing left for the other areas of my life. So that's a big thing, like balancing work and
work-life balance.
Work-life balance. Yeah. But I think being like learning to say no has probably been the hardest thing because I think you feel so grateful that someone wants to pay you to ride their horse. So to say no to someone that you don't want to ride their horse when it's like this, but I can't believe I'm so lucky that I get to ride any horse. It's not like that was my most, I think, empowering moment when I started saying no. And when I started saying no, more of the things that I wanted to say yes to started presenting themselves, and I've got a lot of my friends, and I'm very lucky that I've got a great group of girlfriends that are professional trainers as well. And like I'm probably not a lot older, but I'm a little older and I've probably been doing it a little bit longer. And just being able to sort of support them, like I've seen them sort of have similar situations where they've got clients that making it hard, and it's like I always said, like, don't be afraid to say no, because it could be the best thing you ever do, and the opportunity that will come after it when you start only letting the things that you want to do into your life, not just taking everything because you feel like you have to. Like that took a lot. Like I had to literally get to rock bottom burnout where I'm like, I don't even want to look at another horse before I said I'm not letting other people take away something that I'm so passionate about, because that's what happened is that like I was like, I don't want to do any of this. I'm like, why have I just spent all this money and time and effort to build this up? Yeah, just changed my whole like way I looked at running it and how I wanted to do it. So
it's kind of like almost like prioritizing as well. Like you can't say yes to everything, and you can't do everything. There's physically not enough hours in the day. Yeah,
and knowing your worth too.
Yeah.
Like, I think even now still I sometimes don't charge for things, and I'm like, no, it's okay. But then it's like,
you're like, no, probably should.
Well, it's
always a balance.
Your time's valuable, which is what I'm learning now. But I think it takes a long time to get to that point where your time, like where you realise how valuable your time is, and when people appreciate it too.
Yeah.
So I think, I'm just very much I feel like I'm at the beginning of the career I want to have, if that makes sense. Like I've been doing it for a long time, but I feel like I'm at a stage now where I'm like, okay, now I know what path I want to take, and I'm only at the very beginning of it. So,
now you're like, okay, now we can build.
Yeah. Literally. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that's awesome. And do you think like America as well? Like, do you think you learned things, especially with horses in America, that potentially you couldn't have learned here?
My time in America was interesting. I learned a lot when I was there. I wasn't really working in like a horse training facility. It was almost like the American version of the riding school.
Yeah,
that we
like
went
the Camp America.
Yeah, it was through Camp America, and it was amazing. Like the family that I worked for, like
I feel like those camps are on another level.
Oh man, I'm like, I wish we had that in Australia. But like, so the owner of the camp flew over for my wedding. Do you know what I mean?
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's been a big inspiration in business for me as well, watching what she did. But definitely gave me, I guess a lot more experience in, managing people and because I trained a lot of the riding staff that came through in the years after, and we had so many different kids from so many different backgrounds, and I just got a lot of opportunity over there to do things that we don't do here, which I really loved, and did some other work over there. I worked at a packing station, which if that doesn't, people don't know what that is, basically very different to Australia. So hunting and fishing is, such a popular sport, and they have such amazing
big warehouses and stuff.
Well, like big mountain ranges and like forestry that you can hike out into. But these guys would come up from the cities like from LA and San Francisco, because we're in California, and want to go fishing or deer hunting, right? So we had a a station, they called it. So it was a house at the top of the mountain, and these guys would come and they'd bring all their gear and we would load it all up, and we had mules, and we'd put all the gear in the packs, and you'd weigh the packs and you'd, you know, put it all together, and
that's so cool.
we would take these guys out into the backcountry and drop them off somewhere, and then I'd like tie all my mules together and ride back out again, and you go back and get them like 7 days later or something like that. But that was an amazing.
Wow,
that was
cool. That's so different.
Yeah, that was probably like the hardest job I ever had, but the best job I've ever had, because we'd start at 3 a.m. It was like very physically like strenuous. This was before, like, there was no phone, no internet. Like the place we lived at didn't even, like, everything was like running on generators, and I was like the only girl I saw for like 3 months, so it was pretty wild out there. But that taught me a lot about like resilience and all things that probably don't pertain so much to what I'm doing now, but I feel like it shaped my ability to be confident in running my own business too. So because we had a lot of responsibility out there.
Especially when you're like so remote and all of that kind of thing.
Doing stuff like that though, I just think, like, when you're young, do everything. Every opportunity you can take. Yeah, because you got the rest of your life to work, and you've got the rest of your life to pay your mortgage and stress. And so when you're 20s, just literally go and do that's what that's what I did. Like, any opportunity, I was like,
you're just like, yes.
Do it, because you don't know where it will take you.
I'd love to talk about, you know, the competing and the reining, and, you know, what was it, the greatest horsewoman?
Yeah, Australia's greatest horsewoman.
Greatest horsewoman. All of that. That was a massive achievement. Like, what was that kind of experience like? And was there a point, I guess, when you started obviously training the reiners and things like that, did you kind of just like fall into the competitions, or was it more like you were feeling like you were actually kind of getting somewhere and then you wanted to start competing?
I've probably always had like a bit of a competitive nature, not in like a, you know, like I'm hell bent on competing, but I just have always found that, you know, when you're training horses, like, there's got to be like a goal. Otherwise, why do you, like, I get a bit disillusioned. I'm like, I don't really need to ride it because I'm not going anywhere. So, it probably started out like with the reining, like when I had come back from America. You know, I thought I was a bit of a cowgirl. I literally wasn't. All I did was wear jeans. But so, I started riding with Catherine Kelderman, who's a lovely trainer in Glenburn, and she sort of got me started. And I was actually doing the Australian Brumby challenge. Oh yes, so I remember when you did that. Yeah, so that was probably like the first thing that I ever actually did. And it's funny, like, looking at the way social media impacts things. For some reason, I just decided to make this, like, I guess it'd be a blog now, but it was just like a Facebook page, and I posted about this horse every single day for like 160 days, and like so many people followed that. Yeah, and I feel like that really kind of, like, I don't know,
kind of set up the socials.
Yeah, people were kind of aware of who I was, and then we did that. And so I sort of trained that horse in a reining fashion, like she could sort of spin and lope around and whatever. And so then from there, I was like, I really like this reining thing. And I bought, so because I had a school in the reining, if you do anything astride a horse for remuneration, you're a professional. Oh, really? Yeah, so getting into it as a professional, even though I literally had no idea what I was doing. So as an open or a professional rider, your horse has to be one-handed, fully trained, like has to have all the maneuvers. So entry-level riders can ride horses two-handed. They don't have to lead change. Like, it's a little bit more accessible for your normal person. So for me, it was like, no, you have to have you have to do the full thing. You have to do the full thing. So I went out and bought a trained horse, and he was a bit of a jerk, but I loved him, but he taught me a lot. And then from there, and again, like, I never wanted to be a professional reining trainer. I just, that was like my thing that I enjoyed doing. But then again, because the coaching and stuff, I sort of like pushed me down that path. And then I kind of just I always sort of ended up with, I could never afford to buy, the $50,000 horses. I could buy. What do the reiners go for? I wouldn't have no idea. The market has really advanced with the Yellowstone effect. Yes, so true. It's really boosted the industry. So, what used to be a $20,000, $30,000 horse now is now $50,000, $60,000 horse. Wow. So, yeah, it's really great for the industry because it takes a lot of time and effort to train them and money to get them to where they're at. So now it's nice to actually get what they're worth.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'd buy the $10,000 horses, like, and that was still a lot of money, but like it wasn't a $30,000-$40,000 horse. And I was lucky that I got a few horses that they were trained, but they had some quirks or issues that meant that they maybe hadn't been great show horses, or maybe they'd been okay show horses, but then they had fallen off the wagon a little bit. And so I had like a succession of probably 4 or 5 horses that I don't know, resurrected, I guess, for a better word. But like, they were still great, and not to say
they needed a bit more effort though.
Yeah, and they weren't, and like, they'd maybe been with a professional trainer early on and then gone to a non-professional that maybe couldn't quite get around them, or for whatever reason. So, and I had a bit of success doing that. And so then from there, I was like, started getting like a bit better at it. And, probably the main horse that really, was a standout for me. I've got a horse called, I don't own him anymore. His name is Cash. He was the horse on the cover of the Performance Horse magazine in the snow. And so I got him off the back of, he'd sort of been a few different places and had a few issues. And it probably took me like 2 years to get that horse to a point where he was, like trained. And I was like ready to throw the towel in with him a couple of times. I was just like doing a few.
Bit difficult.
Yeah, but he made me be a good trainer, because if I didn't, I actually had to listen to the horse, not just say you need to listen to me. And he really
you couldn't do any shortcuts or anything.
No, and he had an opinion about a lot of things, but it was just, so he was the horse I ran reserve at Australia's Greatest Horsewoman, which was like not something I expected at all.
Pretty cool.
And it was really cool to do it on a horse that was quite challenging. And then he went and had quite a successful reining career as well, which again, like I had, people that I highly respected in the industry that were like, I never thought we'd see that. Like I never envisioned that horse would ever do what he's doing. And like I said, it wasn't easy, but that was sort of when I started to believe in myself a little bit more. If that,
you kind of getting the recognition, going like, oh, cool.
It's like what I learnt, in training that horse, I could transfer on to other horses, and I just felt like I became more aware of what I was doing and how I wanted them to feel. And, through that sort of, like led me on to have opportunities to ride other horses. And, but I love the competition side of things. And, we do mainly reining, but, I've thrown my hat in the ring a little bit with the rein cow horse. So that's more my husband's thing. But earlier this year, I won the Limited Open Derby on a horse that we trained here, which was really cool. And so I love the competition side of things, but I just love horses.
Yes.
In whatever sense of that is. So
how was doing the horse riding on Buller? That would have been amazing.
Oh, that was so cool. We went to...
is it called like ski joring or something?
Ski joring, yeah. So in America and in Canada, it's a really popular thing that they do, and they have big festivals and everything.
Wow.
But so
first horse probably on the snow, Mount Buller.
Like literally it was. So because there's no other mountains in Australia that will let horses on, and like Buller's, Buller's only like I think we could get from our house to the top in like an hour and 15. Yeah. So like we're pretty close in the scheme of things, because it takes a while getting up the mountain. But super fortunate to be asked to help the girls from Cowgirl Surf Club to take the horses up there, and that was an amazing experience. Like,
did the horses have to have like studs on?
Yeah, so Mitch, being a farrier, he put pads and jumping studs on them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that was...
Grip the snow.
Yeah, well, it was literally...
That would have been so weird, like riding on the snow.
We had no idea what we were going to... how it was going to be, and it was just great that, Mitch was there and he could do that. But it was surreal. It was absolutely surreal. It was amazing the amount of people that I had messaged me on Instagram afterwards, and they were like, were you at Mount Buller today? And I was like, yeah, I was. And they like sent me videos from the ski lift of us. Like,
really?
Yeah. It was like,
that's so cool.
How many people, frequent Mount Buller, and
then you got your own cover as well.
I know,
that
was pretty, that was just an amazing, opportunity, and to have it on the cover of the Performance Horse magazine too was pretty cool. So
no, that is very, very cool. No, it's amazing. Do you think that what has been like the highlight, do you reckon, in your career? Like, is it you know, Mount Bulli? Is it, you know, or competition, or what's kind of been like the highlight for you so far, do you think? Is there one that like stands out?
I don't know. There's so many things. I feel like, you know, you can think of like a moment like as a highlight, but like, you know, for me, my husband proposed to me in the lineup at Australia's Greatest Horsewoman, and like that was pretty special.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know. For me, the highlight for me sometimes is like where we live here, our house is up from the barn, and when I can look down at what we've built down there and people coming and enjoying their horses, like for me that's like a real, like I get such a kick out of that. I know it's not like a
proud moment.
Yeah, I feel like what we've created is like the highlight, like a community of people enjoying their horses. Like we're not, it's not trying to be, like
it's a nice welcoming environment.
Yeah, and that, like I said, that sound kind of corny, but that for me, that's what I'm the most like I think of, and I'm like, oh, I can't believe we're doing this.
I can't believe I've done this.
Yeah, I know. Well, it is like, yeah.
You need to sit back and enjoy it sometimes.
Yeah. So no, it's, I don't know. There's been so many highlights though, like everything with horses. But you know, you have moments where you think, oh my gosh, this is going to be it. Like I remember years ago, I think I said before, I was not very good at horse breaking, but in my like delusional state, thought I should do colt starting competitions where you do horse breaking, and like I was, you know. Anyway, we won't talk about it. But like in the moment, the first one I did, I was like, this is the highlight, like the highlight of my life. This is going to be the peak of my career. Yeah. No, it wasn't. I thought the Brumby challenge, this is the peak. No, it's not. You know what I mean? Like at the time it is, and then you go to the next thing. Like,
and then you're like, it kind of is always like.
Each time I'm like, you know, I remember years ago I watched Equitana, like at Equitana I watched the reining, and I said to myself, I'm like, I'm going to show here one year. Yeah. And I was like, at the time it was like, never going to happen, and then I did. Yeah. And I just think,
and then once you're there you're like, okay, what's next?
Yeah. Then I'm like, I want to go there, I want to win one time. I'm going to win that event one time. Like that's what I'm going to do. Like or you know, it's just each time you hit that milestone, then you go, all right, well where's the next milestone? So I'm just forever chasing something.
I know. I feel like I'm like that as well. You get to a stage and then you're like, okay, amazing. What's next?
Exactly. But if you don't, you become stagnant. And in the horse industry to stay relevant, you've got to be doing stuff. Otherwise, I'm not to say people forget who you are, but like if you want to, you know, stay finger on the pulse, you got to be out there doing stuff, and that's what I've tried to do. So
the industry changes a lot, I think, and like you definitely need to stay relevant. You need to keep doing things and all of that.
Very much.
Do you think that, like you were saying, Yellowstone's obviously brought more people to the Western world, kind of in Australia, I guess? I feel like I'm not obviously in really the Western world, but I feel like in the last few years, it's definitely become a lot more popular. Do you think? Have you found there's a lot more people kind of coming into it?
100%. It's like. In America, they've said it's definitely made a huge impact there, and it has 100% boosted our, you know, reining economy. We've found a lot of riders coming over from the dressage world. You know, in my team alone, I've got a dressage rider, eventer, endurance riders, like people from sort of all different disciplines wanting to come over. And you know, the last horse show we were just at, we had a qualifier for a show called the Run for the Million, which is Taylor Sheridan, who produced Yellowstone. That's a horse event that he actually put on. Oh wow! And it's massive. So they now do qualifiers all around the world that you can qualify to go and show.
Wow, that's amazing.
And we had a couple of riders that qualified, and one of them is, you know, a very well known in the dressage world and has had, you know, a lot of elite level horses, but she's decided to come reining. And
wow, that's so cool.
Well, I asked her though, what drew you in? And she said Yellowstone. She's like, I watched Yellowstone and I wanted to do that. And it's like, wow, if TV show can, you know, influence people to want to, you know, come and try a new discipline, like it's pretty amazing. But it has, you know, country's cool now. Country was not that cool.
I know.
It's, you know, you look at all the Western things like the rodeos and the camp drafts, and
they're all booming now.
Oh, there's, you know, we live near Merrijig here and they have a rodeo there, and I remember you used to be able to go and buy a ticket at the gate. Now, if you haven't bought tickets 3 weeks out, you're not getting in, and it is chockers. It's just wild. So it's had a great impact on the industry. I think for me, think that the industry needs to capitalise on it and make sure that they, you know, make use of this interest, which I can see some people do and some people aren't taking advantage of it, which I think is to their own detriment. But
yeah, you kind of need to take it and run a little bit while it's there, because it's not going to last forever.
No.
Yeah.
But reining is one of those things that once you sit on a reining horse, it's like,
you get hooked.
Oh, totally. Because coming from English riding background, and I don't really say that I ever did anything to a high level. I never competed to a high level. You know, we did that at riding club and bits and pieces, but I was involved enough, and I went through the pony club system and had, you know, the German riding instructors that pretty much, you know, like wear holes in your hands pulling that hard of the rein, to being able to sit on these horses and they stay in collection, and they can do these high speed maneuvers with little to no pressure, and the horses enjoy their job, and there's still technical side to it. It's still an adrenaline rush. You know, you still get to bond with your horse, but it's just, I don't know, it's just
less
funner.
Pressure.
Yeah. I don't see a lot of people moving from reining out of other disciplines. There's a lot of people coming into it. So, yeah.
Wow, crazy. All right, I think I've got two little kind of final questions, I think, to round it all off. What do you wish someone had maybe told you at the beginning when you were kind of starting to get into it? Or just the whole kind of, industry as a whole?
That if you don't back yourself, no one else will. Yeah, I think, I wish someone had have told me that no one's coming to tell you you're the best.
There's no knight in shining armour.
You've just got to, if you want to, you've got to believe in yourself. Otherwise, no one's going to come and work for you. Basically, you've got to do the work yourself.
Yeah.
That's probably a big thing, a big learning curve. So,
and is that, do you think, like, if you were to give someone advice, you know, like, or if you know, if you had advice that you've really kind of taken on board, do you think that would be it, or do you think it would be different? Yeah,
I think, you know, you've got to be prepared to work. It's all kind of goes hand in hand. Like, you've got to be prepared to work, and if you want to be really good at this craft, the horse industry, riding and training horses is not a 9 to 5. Like, you've got to be prepared to work whatever hours it takes for the you know, the sake of the horses. And you're not always going to get paid for your time, but you are getting paid for your time in other ways, and you've got to appreciate that as well. But yeah, definitely you've got to back yourself. Like, that's the biggest thing. And I find a little bit in our industry, and I don't know whether it's the same in other industries, but sometimes it's almost, I feel like it's a bit shameful. Like, people make you feel a bit shamed because you promote yourself so much. And my thought process, though, if I don't do it, I can't. I'm lucky I'm in a position now where other brands do promote me, but they wouldn't have promoted me had they not known who I was, and they wouldn't have known who I was because I promoted myself, and through, you know, channels like social media and just doing things. So you've got to be willing to just put yourself out there and try, because otherwise it's not just going to get handed to you on a platter, especially if you're not from any family backing that's going to give you a leg up. So if you want it bad enough, it's there for the taking. Yeah, no, definitely. Amazing. All right, I think that's a perfect place to end.
Oh, cool.
Thank you.
That's
amazing. Awesome. Let's go ride a horse.
Yes, let's.